Most investors think that because they don't want some contractor to run off with the money, they say, okay, we expect you to go and put your money in it. You start and get the work done first, and then we'll start to reimburse you. Okay. The problem with that is most contractors are barely good at what they do. And they're only in business because they don't want to work for someone. So they're a good carpenter. They're not a good money manager. So a lot of people, because of how they structure, or because of they don't really understand like the nature of contractors, to me, I think there's a fundamental flaw issue. The easiest way to find good contractors, to me, what I tell people is this: number one, find a contractor or two and pay them for estimate. Like, it's good to get all the free guys, but to me, what I like is, like, if I have a trade that's just what I call a moderate trade that prices something, and then I have a higher end trade that's paid me, that I have a paid estimate, what that gives me, in my opinion, is, like, most contractors that don't value their time are just going to go out and look at anything and chase projects. The guy, that's not the guy that you want. That's why you got issues. The guy that you want values his time. So he's not driving all around because, see, he's so busy right now, he doesn't have to drive over town to talk to some investor that he hope might buy a house and he get a deal 30 days from now. So fundamentally, the guy that's going to come and give you a free estimate and quote is probably not the guy I want managing my $40,000, $50,000 rehab. Number one, that's why I'm willing to pay a guy for $200-300 to get the proper. Now, when I pay for estimate, I got a good base point. So now I know, and when I pay for estimate, I'm gonna get a labor and materials quotes. I don't want nothing turnkey. In other words, okay, to paint this house is $3,000. Wrong. I want to know $2,000 worth of labor, $1,000 worth of paint. Okay, to put siding on here is $6,000. Wrong. I want to know $3,100 in labor, $2,900 in materials. So I want a line item estimation and breakdown, so that now, even if I don't use you, I got a base point to negotiate down or negotiate up. I can take that estimate and I can go to Home Depot myself. When I coach people, this is something that I just did a master class where I teach building and renovation. And in order to attend, you have homework. The homework exercise is you going to Home Depot, walking every aisle. It's a 2-hour exercise. If you leave within the 2 hours, you failed. You can know nothing about negotiations, but just because you understand material costs, a guy can give you a quote. Hey, it's going to take you $4,000 to frame your house. You ask him one question: how much materials? He said, oh, it's $500. You say, great. So it's a $4,000 quote, $500 in material. And then I ask, so I'm paying you $3,500 in labor.
Damn. On $500 material.
Now look, and notice what I did. I didn't say anything, and you said damn, and then I responded. But because when I asked that question, I shut up. Whoever talks next loses. Because generally the contractor is going to start validating, well, this is why you're paying me $3,500. And from there, now you know what you're negotiating.
Because you know the cost of the materials.
So now I can't move the cost of materials, but I can move the cost of that labor.
Of labor, exactly. Yep. See, most people are negotiating against themselves. So if you just know material costs, you at least can now, because see, think about it. What if I negotiate you down off the $4,000 without knowing material costs, and I negotiate you down $250? What happens when he give you grade 3 wood versus grade 1 wood? You follow me? Or you go from having the 49, if we're talking tile, you were going to get, maybe he goes from giving you 99 cents a square foot tile to the 49 cents a square foot tile, which changes how it looks, and that could change quality, that could change your ARV, depending if we're talking granite, quality of fixtures. So see, it's little subtle nuances that people they miss when they're dealing with trades and contractors that set them up for failure from the jump street. You follow me? The guy that charges you to come out for a quote is a totally different guy than the guy that just show up that you call him. And then most people, here's the thing, the guy that shows up that will just show up on a dime, like most people try and call a guy off Craigslist and get them to manage a $30,000, $40,000 job. The problem is the investor isn't trained enough to manage this guy. So he can go in and wire this little area you need wired, but you don't know the difference between 14-4 wire, 12-2, Romex, or the difference. So you don't know what to inspect. So when it's wrong, it looks subpar, it's cheap, you didn't know how to manage this guy. Whereas if you did something else that a lot of investors don't do, going back to contractors, you could have the worst contract in the world. This is one thing that will save you. Pay an inspector to do period inspections throughout your rehab. So he do phase one, inspector come out, he say, this is garbage. Okay, now you know this is garbage work before you've gotten halfway into the project, you know it phase one. Other thing I tell people to do when they're dealing with trades and contractors, you got a $30,000 job. Most people agree, write a contract. I say don't do that. You got a $30,000 job and that's bid. Okay, let's break this down to, let's take the first 5,000 up to 30. Let's do, and I give you 1,500 on that. You get started 3 days in, 5 days in, whenever next payment is due, we're going to measure and see if I like your work, you like me. And if we want to move forward, then we can move forward. We call it red light, green light in my business. So don't commit the whole job, commit a piece of the job and work on that first to see if you like the guy. And then you just kind of take it, you know, one step at a time before you commit to a whole person, give them half of a $30,000 job. They can't spend the whole $15,000 initially anyway. They got a demo, they got to prepare, so on and so forth. So there's stuff they have to do. So if you commit a smaller piece to the initially versus the entire thing, that can save you a lot of drama and headache. So that's more or less